Today on I Am Rising, when trying to heal prevents you from healing. And I should also add, embracing and feeling what's here now is the answer. And I've been on all sides of it in my healing journey. Cancer from the beginning taught me how to surrender. But when I say that, it's not like, ooh, cancer, surrender, done. I wish it was that easy. But any kind of challenge in life is a catalyst. It is an opportunity. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And even the effort of trying too hard to heal could be getting in your way. And if you're looking too intently for meanings or to understand, you do not have to understand anything in order to heal. So let's break it down a little. Trying to heal, and I'm putting them in air quotes. Right away, trying. If we're trying, we're doing. There's effort. There's even in the nervous system a clamping down of, got to figure it out. I've got to, fix it, manage it. If I can tell you how many times I've heard a client say, I just have to fix this. Let's rewind. No, you don't. And I say that with love. The minute you even engage in, I have to fix this, you've pushed it away. You are already operating from your small self, your ego, the mind. And I'm sure you've heard the quote, is it Einstein? You can't solve a problem with the same mind that created the problem. And all sickness really is in the mind. I know you're going to say, no, it's in the body. It doesn't start in the body. And what it really comes down to, if you really want to heal, is are you willing to, one, be here with what's here now and show up fully with willingness to embrace it, to breathe into it, to feel it, even in little bits as a practice. Because the symptom, the pain, the sickness, whatever's showing up as an appearance is something that's been in your system calling to you for some time. And it had to get louder to wake you up. It had to get louder to be the catalyst, calling on you to go inside, not to fix the outside, not to mitigate the symptoms, not to put a band-aid on it. It's calling for you. It's a call inward. I've said many times, cancer not only taught me how to surrender, but it also really has helped me get in my body. Again, so many things that I see in clients and the world is people living in their mind. You cannot heal fully from being in the mind. So this trying to heal, we've said, it is requiring effort and doing. Okay? There's the trying and the fixing. There's the managing. And what is all of this doing? It's causing resistance. You've probably heard the saying, what you resist persists. But the other part of that is what you embrace and welcome and feel resolves and dissolves. And so every moment, there's an opportunity to really breathe into, the wisdom of the body that already knows how to heal. Right now, are you creating the energy and doing the digesting yourself? your body's doing that for you. Your heart's beating right now. Do you have to place your hand on your heart and make sure that it beats? No, it knows how to do that. We can go through all the different systems. So much is already happening, and you don't have to consciously do anything about it. Why would that be any different to heal whatever's happening right now in your life? What is the kind of common denominator here that's getting in the way? You and me. We get in the way of our own healing because the nervous system is just in sympathetic. That is the fight, flight, right? We're clamped down. We're trying to control. We're trying to force something to happen. We're trying to make something happen. All of that is external. All of that are symptoms that are calling out. And most of us still don't go inside. And so it has to get louder and louder and louder to get our attention. And then when it finally gets your attention, like for me, an aggressive cancer diagnosis, not just cancer, aggressive, I still found myself doing all the things, which is why I can tell you about them now. It is a stage to try to heal. It's definitely in there, and it's not necessarily linear. But for me, I would do all the research. I went to, 6 different surgeons to kind of see what each said, and each one of them having a different opinion, which, little side note, never trust just one opinion. If there's something really dire that's going on, always get multiple opinions, or at least a second opinion. It's also for you to feel out and be intuitive about how you want to navigate your journey. So I went to like 5 or 6. I also went to different oncologists. I have 2 integrative oncologists. I had a Chinese herbalist who was also a medical doctor. I researched to find my team. So that's not really trying. That's just really navigating and finding what's going to work best for me. But then there's elements, because of fear and because of wanting so bad to heal and have the answer and not be present with what's here now, that this is where everything gets really stirred up. So that was part of it for me. But then in looking back, I was looking for someone to tell me, you don't need chemo. I mean, yeah, people on the outside were saying that had nothing to do with my diagnosis. They didn't see how horrific it was. So it was easy for people to say that. But all of the people that I respected, that I admired, that I really was a part of my team, not one of them said that was smart. A few said they'd support me if that was my choice. So am I going to keep going around to find, someone to agree with me? Or what I did was I got really quiet. I got really still. And it was, what if I surrendered? What if all of this preparation and all of this moving around is enough? And I have established a whole team here. And now I can navigate this journey, not from fear, but from the conscious choice to heal on all levels and have the experience that I came here to experience. And so for me, it was the integrative approach. It was surgeries. It was chemo. I've had other shows about that where I've explained that. Then there was extreme PTSD, where there's a whole other trying to heal that comes in. So that's what I mean. It's not linear. It can come back around, and then it's like, oh, I'm doing it again. I'm trying to control. Let me surrender. So in the midst of then surrendering, doing all these different healing treatments, each one brought something new for me to be with. And then, as a lot of you know, it was mind-body medicine, Dr. Kim Duramo, she's amazing, and breathwork, my school, Alchemy of Breath, which I'm proud to say I'm now a trainer with, not just a facilitator. Those were my lifelines. That was for me, doing a lot of other things too. And so now at this stage of the game, seeing even more how it's about surrendering, it's about trusting, it's about being versus doing. And again, resistance, as I mentioned before, when we're resisting anything, our body is clamped down, nothing can come in. And so if we're resisting feeling, then that feeling, that memory, that energy is trapped inside. And I know that our nervous systems are kind of conditioned based on our past. So your nervous system very often will flare up. And when you try to be in your body to feel, it'll want to project you out, which is why it is a practice and a journey and not a sprint. And it's really something lifelong in health, especially if you have decades of conditioning. It's going to take practice to unravel, unwind, and unlearn all the bad habits, all the lies that you bought and sold to yourself that are programs living in your system that continue to create that controlling, fixing, managing. And then it just becomes managing, fixing symptoms. You might have a little bit of moments of relief, and then something else is going to come along. And then you might have some relief, and then something else is going to come. It will continue to come along until you drop in to meet you on the inside. It's a call from within. And when we pray, God answers our prayer, not necessarily in the way that we expect. It doesn't mean he's not listening. She's not listening. God's listening. And God shows up, giving you the experience to learn how to be still and surrender, because that's the place where God speaks, in the stillness, in the silence. If you're resisting, fixing, managing, trying, is there any stillness in there? Doesn't feel like it to me. And I get it. I was someone that wanted to move to the next moment, to the next moment, to the next moment, and bam. It took 40-something years. Aggressive cancer. So can we slow down? Can we start to welcome what's here and invite in a deeper experience and attune our nervous system to presence and stillness and silence, and be bringing in more light, which is the only way we can bring in more light is a softened body, is a relaxed, intentional space, is a deeper breath and an opening that requires some vulnerability, that requires that softening so that light can come in, so that healing can come in, which is the light. We're always saying the same thing, but different terminology may help you because your mind might be really attached to some kind of outcome. And then there's another thing, being attached to the outcome. So God answers our prayer, giving us and providing an opportunity. Do you choose the opportunity, or are you again looking for that answer or that conclusion or that resolution without putting in the willingness to love and accept what's here fully? And yes, that requires being in uncomfortable and sometimes painful feelings, physical and emotional. Because we've so much of our lives we've been suppressing. You might think you've escaped it by the pill, by the fixing, by the distracting, etc. But that energy is still there. That pattern is still there. That little you, former version of you, when you didn't feel, is still there. So we've said trying, effort, doing, fixing, managing, resisting. Not gonna help. Doing versus being. The being is, well, we're human beings, right? So you probably heard that before. But how much of your day is the to-do list, rather than what I like to do is my to be list. Who am I being in this moment? And that's another video too. The body knows how to heal. We get in the way. What are you trying to control? It is beyond your control, because news alert, or maybe not news alert, you're not in control. You never have been. So you can keep trying to control and force. It's just not how it works. Or you could practice this other way of being and watch your whole world unfold. Are you even in your body? This was a big one for me too. I spent so much time in my mind not even knowing. So sometimes illness is calling you to be in your body. Why? Because it's calling you to the present moment. Why? Because the body can only be in the present moment. So when we come into our bodies, we come into presence. Yes, that may mean then that we feel some kind of pain. This is the opportunity. This is the invitation. This is the true path to healing. And what's so scary to the mind is that when we go inside to really feel that energy, that pain that we feel, is that ego or that smaller self. Well, the ego's dying, so it's an ego death that's happening. But the freedom is that feeling that was trapped inside gets to return and restore to wholeness. That's in the resolutely embracing it allows it to resolve and then dissolve. And then you're operating from more of wholeness rather than separation, because that's the other thing. When you're in your ego, when you're over in sympathetic nervous system, which is all doing the controlling, that's all the small self. If we don't have balance, where we're bringing in the breath, the presence, the slowness, the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, then our body can come online. But it can't come online if we're not softened, and if we're not relaxed, and if we're not in a space where we're conscious and allowing it. And so I want to just talk a little bit more before we close, to make it a little personal, to help you. I saw a journal entry that was so perfect about this, because sometimes a personal story can illustrate the picture to just kind of, bring it home even more. And so for me, I've noticed a lot of anger and judgment that are patterns in my body that want to fight, that want to control. And I've known about them for a while, but now I'm feeling them, which is the difference. It's not enough to just know, to have the concept, to have the spiritual principle. There has to be an embodiment, or it's just that, a concept. It has to be a practice so that you can come into wholeness, or it's just always hamster on a wheel. So now that I'm finally through cancer in my body, and a somatic healer and a breathwork trainer, and all about the body as the portal, as the instrument, I'm feeling where this energy is in my body so that I can meet those Tinas along the way who felt that she had to fight because it wasn't safe for her to feel. So that's the thing. Forgive yourself for it happening this way. It had to happen this way. And there had to be some kind of wake up. That energy may have been protecting you, but it's not protecting you anymore. And that's the big aha here. So I get to now meet those other Tinas and say, I'm sorry. Let's feel this and breathe into it and allow it to move. And so here in my journal entry, I'm saying, I always saw and felt how my anger and judgment and wanting to fight are all forms of control that were set in place to protect me. If I react in anger or judgment, I don't have to feel the pain or hurt that's underneath it. And then I can maintain control. Or so we think, right? I'm just going to say that again. If I react in anger or judgment, I don't have to feel the pain and hurt that's underneath it, and then I can maintain control. When my mind takes over, even keeping the fight alive in my head is a distraction. It's distracting and covering up the wound, but it's also keeping that energy jammed in place, airtight. And that eventually is what is the illness, the disease, the dysfunction, the pain, etc. The wound itself is from when I was younger, and I'm kind of paraphrasing as I read this. When I have memories of pure, innocent, loving, real, authentic Tina. I have such memories of her. I keep a picture of her right here at my desk. When she shared and was that loving, innocent, pure being, she was made fun of, laughed at, rejected, abandoned, etc. And I remember this. I can feel in my body as I speak of it. It's like a clamping down. So a fighter persona Tina entered. This is when she did protect me. She entered and placed armor around her, little Tina, to protect her. And that armor remains until I move it. Triggers give me that opportunity. We could say illness gives us that opportunity. Crisis gives us that opportunity. My ego takes over and criticizes, judges, fights to keep me living from my small self, controlling. But I'm not in control. It's an illusion. So I soften, I let go. I feel the energies from the wound. One moment at a time, one breath at a time. And I love myself unconditionally back into my heart. That's everything that we're talking about. And just so that you know, this was September 29th, 2022. And when I read this morning, I'm still doing this now. So it's like we're always in progress. We're always in a process, right? I looked at it and was like, wow, not even realizing that I could use that for our topic today. And I'm way better than 2022. And yet these are patterns that have different layers. And we can only be with the layer that is present in the moment. It doesn't mean that you have to do it all at once either. This is a practice. So for me, I have a very strong spiritual practice in the morning, but I have a timer that goes off so that in little bits throughout the day, I sit for at least 5 minutes with a timer and I breathe and I feel. Whatever's going to work for you, even if you just take 10 breaths into a feeling, it can transmute. You're not going to necessarily feel the difference right away. But if you make this a practice, you'll get to know the language of your body. You also start to really see where all these patterns and personas are running the show. And the God as you, the goddess as you, the I am presence as you isn't running the show, which is what we want. And there's a battle on the inside. And so if you can just keep breathing into the resistance, letting go of trying so much, and listening to what's here to be felt, who is here to be embraced. You don't have to relive any of it. So we're not going to relive a past memory. We're not going to the past. We're here in the present now, breathing with what's here in the body and being patient, because there are going to be energies in your body that don't trust you because you closed, you created that persona to tuck them inside, and it's going to take some time, but you can keep showing up. You can keep letting the little yous, letting your body know, I'm here, I love you, I'm listening. You probably heard me say that in meditations because I say it all the time. And for me, seeing it as little Tina's makes it very personal, because then it is a pattern and it is an energy. But when I see it as little girl Tina, there's a compassion that comes over me, and that is needed. Compassion, unconditional love, radical acceptance and forgiveness for not knowing any better in the past, but you now have this moment. And this moment is presenting that opportunity for you to let go of trying, to be more into the being, the feeling, the letting, the allowing, the softening. And if you've never done this, the symptoms are going to get louder at first. The pain will be more intense at first. That doesn't mean that you're not doing something right. It means that you absolutely are doing something right. So don't use that as, oh, it's not working, and stop. I see that so often. If you've never gone inside, or if you're not inside often, it's going to take some time and patience. But aren't you worth that dedication to truly heal? Rather than the kind of health system that we have today that has nothing to do with health. It's a sick system. It's a drug cartel. But let me not get started in that. You came here made out of the image and likeness of the Creator itself. You really think that then you'd be left to not have the wisdom of your body to heal? You're the one getting in the way. I say that with love. I continue to get in the way myself, but now I have a new awareness. There has been a consciousness shift. And so when an old pattern comes and I react, the turnaround is so quick, and it's gotten to the place, thank God, literally, thank God, that when these densities come, when I see myself, or feel myself rather, controlling or trying to get the answer or skip to the outcome, or just feeling the heaviness, I get excited. Yeah, there's always a part of me that's like, oh no, not this. And then that's another voice. Who's that? And I'm getting to know all of this because I know when it comes on, something right is happening. And then I get to do what you hear me always say, and I will always say, I soften my body. I relax my body. I let the light in. I breathe more deeply. I let myself feel what's here. And then I go into inquiry. Who is here for me to embrace? What's here for me to feel? Thank you for showing me that you're here so that I can love and accept you. And then at times, I'm also crying or shouting or shaking or being with the feelings. We're not spiritually bypassing. You get to be angry. You get to be judgy. You get to be resentful. You just don't stay there. This is a true embodiment as a human. And we're not taught this. And that's okay. You can love yourself back to your heart. That's what these energies are calling for. It's all about calming your nervous system. It's all about loving what's here and welcoming what's here. And it's all about really embracing the resistance and being with it, being with you, and dancing this thing called life. This is the work that I am immersed in, and I absolutely love it. Not only am I facilitating breath work, but it's not just breath work. I'm also doing mind-body medicine. I'm also tuning in intuitively. And I have a course coming. So if this is something that is even percolating something in your interest, there will be more soon. But reach out if you need support. And know that every moment is this new moment to surrender and really hand over the heavy stuff to Creator. You're not going to solve anything from the small self, from the ego. Divinity, God, love, Creator, the infinite, is essential. Essential. And that surrender might be scary. For me, it was, and there have been levels of it. But I'm now at a phase where I can feel what used to feel so vulnerable and naked and scary now is the medicine. And even at times when it feels a little uncomfortable because it feels so revealing, I just keep expanding more into it, dropping my shoulders, opening my heart, and feeling more, not less. You are the answer. You've always been the answer. Dropping into your body and dropping into your heart is the medicine. If you need support in doing that, just reach out. I send you so much love. I offer so much gratitude. And I look forward to hearing your comments, questions.